Take a lie. Oh God, guys, I forgot about this lie detector thing. Today was supposed to be a, relaxing day. I was gonna take some time off from trial stuff, but I got a little bit curious. I started reading about Letecia Stauch. Why did I do that? Letecia Stauch is currently on trial right now. If you've been watching court TV, Law and Crime, and I watched some clips here and there, but then I was like, I want to know more because I don't want to watch hours and hours long of the trial footage. I just want to see what happened, what's up, and it's really sad. Gannon Stauch was her 11-year-old stepson at the time, and he went missing for about 2 months before they were able to find his body in a suitcase, thousands of miles away from where his home was. And the arrest affidavit, it's pretty wild. As we're reading the arrest affidavit together, I'm also going to show you clips of the trial that's currently happening right now. Now, I do want to talk about how distressing this case is going to be for a lot of you guys to hear. And I cover a lot of civil cases. I cover a lot of criminal cases as well. And, the criminal ones are usually the really tough one to digest. But the ones that involve kids, that usually gets to me. I've mentioned this a couple times before about this one case that was covered. There was a Netflix documentary about Gabriel Fernandez, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, it's a really sad one, and that one always stuck with me. Now, the thing with this case, it seems like there were no visible signs of any abuse going on in the family. It seems that a lot of family members, friends, they thought Letecia was good to her stepson. Maybe as the trial progresses, maybe there will be more witnesses that comes out that said, hey, I kind of thought there was something amiss going on with Letecia, but we'll see. The Stauch family is a blended family, and all will be discussed at various points below. The representation purposely has little details in order to give an overview of the family structure. First, we have the father, Eugene Al Stauch, who married stepmother Letecia Stauch. Now, Letecia does have a blood-related daughter. Her name is Harley Hunt, who was 17 years at the time. Eugene Al Stauch has 2 blood-related kids from his previous marriage. He has Gannon Stauch, the victim, and Laina Stauch as well. Now, Letecia Stauch is a stepmother to both of these kids. The following vehicles will be discussed at various points below. So we have some cars. We got a red Nissan Frontier, which is Al Stauch's main vehicle. Black Volkswagen Tiguan, Letecia's main vehicle. Now, this one's going to be really important. And then we also have a white Volkswagen Jetta, which is Harley's main vehicle. Again, that's Letecia's daughter, who's 17 years old. And then we have a silver Nissan Altima, a rental car obtained by Letecia's aunt, Brenda Ackward, and utilized by Letecia from January 30 to February 1st, after her Tiguan was seized by EPSO, which I believe is El Paso Sheriff's Office, on January 9, 2020. And then we have a white Kia Rio, a rental car obtained and utilized by Letecia on January 28 to 29, 2020. All right, let's get into some background information on Letecia Stauch. So Letecia Stauch, aka Letecia Hardin, who was born on August 4th, 1983, is the last person known to investigators to see 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. Date of birth, 9/29/2008. Now, there was a 911 call that was made by her, and her demeanor in that 911 call already red flags to me. So the 911 operator is like, who was the last person to see him? And she's like, I guess me. I'll play the video for you real quick.
You'll hear, ask the defendant, who was the last person to see Gannon?
Who was the last person to see him? I guess me?
Yeah, kind of weird. Letecia is Gannon's stepmother and was Gannon's only known adult supervision the days preceding and on the day of his murder. At all the time of Gannon's murder, Letecia was employed by School District 20 as an assistant teacher. How is she a teacher? I mean, I don't know. I guess some of these people are just really good at going undercover. Oh, God, I can't believe she was around other kids. Although I've also learned that she's no longer employed there. I was able to locate prior criminal history for Letecia and learn in North Carolina Robeson County court case, Letecia was convicted after trial for communicating threats, a misdemeanor. I wonder how long ago that was. But they weren't able to locate her sentencing information. Maybe this was like something that happened when she was a minor, maybe? Letecia was also convicted of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle in Robeson County court case, was sentenced to 45 days confinement and 18 months of probation. Wait, what? For unauthorized use of motor vehicle? Really? Jeez. Although not criminal in nature, I was able to locate a document memorializing the suspension of Letecia's North Carolina teaching certificate. I wonder what happened here. This was in May 11, 2016, so about 4 years before the murder happened. As part of the document, it is reported that Letecia has filed unsubstantiated claims of harassment and retaliation. And the North Carolina State Board found, in quotes, that Ms. Stauch breached her contract by engaging in unprofessional conduct, willfully neglecting her duty, and failing to comply with the provisions of her contract. Okay, so this is back in 2016, and they refer to her as Ms. Stauch. So she's been with Gannon's dad for at least 4 years now. C. Letecia's criminal history is only included by way of background for the court, and because Letecia's been convicted of her previous crimes, it's not meant to indicate the guilt of the violations or to be considered as the sole basis of probable cause for the requested warrant. Next, we're going to go to the father. So Eugene Albert Stauch, aka Al Stauch, date of birth 9/20/1982, is Gannon's biological father and is married to Letecia Stauch. Mr. Stauch was deployed with the National Guard during the dates of January 25th, 2020 and January 28th, 2020. Mr. Stauch spent the night in Denver on January 25th, 2020 and departed via commercial airline on January 26th, returning via commercial airline on January 28th. So he was only gone for like 3 days. Investigators were able to corroborate this information, and Mr. Stauch has fully cooperated in the below investigation. On January 27, 2020, at or about 6:55, Letecia Stauch, 6:55 p.m., sorry, I should clarify that. Letecia Stauch reported Gannon missing after calling 911. During that call, she was instructed to call El Paso County non-emergent line. What? Really? That's a non-emergency? Okay. For kids? Really? In summary, Letecia stated Gannon was supposed to be home approximately 1 hour ago and that she was unable to locate him at his friend's house. Her story dramatically changed multiple times over the following days. As we'll discuss below, investigators do not believe Letecia went to any neighboring houses to attempt to locate Gannon and was one of the many lies told by Letecia during the investigation. Yeah, because if you have a child that's missing, what's the first thing you do? You don't just call 911 right away. You usually check with your neighbors, your friends, your, friends of like the kid and stuff like that. Like... Okay, Letecia. Letecia was unable to provide an actual location of the homes she went to. That's because she didn't go to any of them. The names of Gannon's friends he was supposed to be playing with, because no one was playing with him at the time, and the names of the parents of Gannon's friends. Yikes, Letecia. Red flags. Deputies responded to Letecia's residence at 6627 Mandan Drive in Colorado. They were unable to locate Gannon. Deputies conducted a limited search of the residence and took a report from Letecia. Some of the interactions between the responding deputies and Letecia were captured on body-worn camera, and they were able to play parts of this in the trial. A missing person investigation was initiated in the coming days, developed into a murder investigation. A tip line was established. Investigators received hundreds of tips and leads from the public by virtue of email and telephone calls. As part of the tip line, 2 ransom notes were received by email demanding money in form of Bitcoin. Of course, crypto. In exchange for Gannon's return, investigators took steps to validate these ransom notes, including resolving and geolocating the IP addresses from the email headers, requesting subscriber information from the ISP, and who hosted those IP addresses. One of the ransom notes was sent from a foreign-based email account that is accessible by multiple individuals. Investigators were unable to trace the user of the IP addresses and believe the ransom notes to be fraudulent and strictly designed as a scheme to receive money. I wonder if they think this was linked to Letecia, or did some scumbags out there just saw like, oh my God, missing kids. Let me take this opportunity to try to get some money from the victim's family, which is... Do people really do that? Letecia initially claimed that she last saw Gannon on January 27, 2020, when he left their residence to play with his friends somewhere around 3:15 p.m. Based on the facts outlined below and Letecia's statements to EPSO dispatcher, Letecia is the last person that ever saw Gannon alive. Letecia stated that she attempted to find him at a neighbor's house and sent her daughter, Harley Hunt, to look for Gannon at the park. Letecia lied to investigators on on multiple occasions, has unexplained abnormal behavior such as obtaining a rental car, disconnecting her cell phone from cellular network for an extended period of time, the false reporting of the alleged R, and abnormal patterns of travel, a continuously evolving story with material changes in facts and circumstances, and has since left the state of Colorado. These actions, when combined with other facts and affidavits, support the totality of probable cause for the requested warrant and will be discussed below. Just for reference, the R word is, I can't even highlight it. Okay, well, I hope you guys can see it. There's my mouse pointer right there. The murder of Gannon Stauch. The following section will outline what investigators have learned about Letecia's activity on January 27, 2020, and outline the period when Gannon was most likely murdered. Investigators believe that Gannon was murdered by Letecia Stauch in the afternoon hours after approximately 2:14 p.m. as of January 27, 2020. Again, remember, his dad had left for the National Guard 2 days prior to this at Gannon's residence, and more specifically in his bedroom. Physical evidence recovered from the residence and inside Gannon's bedroom supports that a violent event occurred in his bedroom which caused bloodshed, including blood splatter on the walls and enough blood loss to stain his mattress, soak through the carpet pad, and stain the concrete below his bed. They do have pictures in this affidavit, but since it's scanned in, it's not in color. The pictures, you can't really see too much. But you guys are probably wondering, well, there are 2 other kids. Where were they? Well, this is when Gannon was home, and Letecia said that Gannon was sick from a stomach fever of some sort. And so one of the kid was working. She was like 17, and the other kid had gone to school at this time. So it's just him and Letecia, sadly. Based on the evidence required from the residents, Gannon's remains were eventually brought through the house into the garage and likely loaded into the back of Letecia's Volkswagen Tiguan. After cleaning the murder scene, Letecia utilized the Tiguan to transport and dump Gannon's remains on the evening of January 28. Letecia likely disposed of his remains off Highway 105 in Douglas County, Colorado. Indeed, the Metro Crime Laboratory determined the blood discovered in Gannon's bedroom, the Stauch's garage, the blood on the piece of particle board located off Highway 105, all match his DNA profile. On Monday, 2020, Gannon Stauch stayed home from school. Based on text messages from Letecia to Mr. Stauch, Gannon was up most of Sunday evening with a stomach problem. Now, the stomach problem thing is like giving me a little bit of red flags, but I'll tell you why in a little bit. Letecia did tell Gannon's school, Grand Mountain Elementary, that Gannon would be absent on Monday. Investigators were able to verify that Gannon was marked as an excused absence that day. Letecia also told Al that, in quotations mark, "I'm just going to give them an excuse at work and stay with him, ... Indeed, Letecia did come up with an excuse and told her employer via text message around 4:37 a.m. This is the lie that she came up with. Her stepdad was killed after being hit by a car and she would not be able to come to work that day. Why come out with such an extreme lie like that? She could just easily just be like, hey, I'm not feeling well. Or hey, my stepson not feeling well, can't come in, can't find a sitter. But the fact that she went from, my stepdad died. Yeah, it's like one of those people. That's like the type of lie that you would hear kids telling when they're trying to get out of like an exam or something, maybe even college students, but it's like she's a grown-ass adult, man. Other electronic evidence such as time and date stamp photographs and videos were recovered from Letecia's cellular telephone that indicate Gannon was still likely alive during the morning of January 27, 2020. Images were taken on Letecia's cell phone at or about 8:13 a.m. and 8:17 a.m. on the morning of January 27, 2020, showing Gannon sleeping in his bed. Of particular note, his Nintendo Switch is visible in the photo lying next to him on the bed. Mr. Stauch said that this gaming system was of high importance to Gannon. To date, investigators have been unable to locate the Nintendo Switch. It should be noted that Letecia used her phone the following day on January 28 or at about 12:57 hours to conduct a Google search. Can Nintendo find my Switch? This is also a detail in the list of some of her search history and paragraph. Oh yeah, the search history. Wait until we get to the search history, you guys. The search history is pretty bad. And reasonably occurred because she was contemplating on how she would dispose of the Switch. I conducted a Google search for the term "Can Nintendo Find My Switch?" and learned that a Switch does not come with any sort of tracking ability. As such, Letecia likely felt it was safe to dispose of the Switch and use the missing Switch to help deceive law enforcement into searching for Gannon as a possible runaway. Yeah, she comes up with like so many different variations of the stories of what might have possibly happened to Gannon, what happened to her, what happened to the both of them. Like, once we get into the stories and stuff, like, it's pretty wild, the type of lies that comes out of her mouth. Ultimately, investigators located video surveillance from a neighbor's surveillance camera that showed what investigators believed to be Letecia, an individual that appeared to match Gannon's physical description, depart their residence in a Nissan Frontier around 10:16 a.m. on January 27, 2020. The video camera is several homes away. Where did I go? I lost it. Several homes away, and does not provide images clear enough to make a positive identification of those captured in the surveillance recording. The vehicle returned about 2:19 hours, and Letecia exited the vehicle. After viewing the video, I cannot be sure if another person exited the vehicle or not, but I submit likely that Gannon did return home with Letecia that afternoon. These times, corroborated by data collected by ADT security system installed in the Stauch's residence, are discussed below in more detail. Now, based on Stauch's ADT security system, the motion detectors in the living room or basement did not register any activity from approximately 10:12 a.m. until Letecia and Gannon entered the home at approximately, I'm just going to say this is throwing me off a little bit, at approximately 14:22 hours. Investigators confirm Laina, which is I believe she's like the 7-year-old stepdaughter, to be at school, and confirmed that Harley, which is the 17-year-old daughter, that's biologically related to, what's her face? Letecia, yeah, Harley's related to Letecia. As such, investigators believe there was likely nobody else in the residence except for Letecia and Gannon. Letecia's historical cell site information, detailed information about her iPhone status, and text message sent to Harley from Gannon's cell phone support that Letecia left her cell phone at the Stauch's residence on the morning of January 27, 2020. The fact that Letecia left her phone at home is suspicious on its own based on her history of extensive use of the phone. So I have a theory about what Letecia was trying to do. Maybe we'll get into more information. I'll tell you guys what it is. I've reviewed forensic search from Letecia's phone and found that she's an active user of social media like Facebook, Instagram. Now, a more detailed view says that between January 25th, 2020 at 8 a.m. and January 29, 2020 at 11 a.m. revealed that Letecia spent roughly 38,607 seconds on Facebook and Facebook Messenger alone, which equates to approximately 10.7 hours of cumulative time over those few days. Letecia's telephone was locked at or about at 9:56 a.m. on January 27, 2020 and unlocked at hours later at 2:45 on the same day. The timing of the unlocking the device is significant compared to her departure and arrival to and from the residence and should be noted by the court. So that's a lot of hours without your cell phone. It's like 4 or 5 hours. Particularly, Letecia did not open her phone for approximately 30 minutes after she arrived back at the residence. So if you left your phone and you left it at home for a couple of hours, dude, the moment you came home, I feel like most people would be like, where's my phone? Let me go check to see if I have any missed calls or anything like that. Especially if someone who uses their phone a lot, especially being on social media, Facebook Messenger, I don't know. On January 27, 2020, there was a message sent from Gannon's phone to Harley's phone that reads, "Tisha left phone at home. If you need her, text me." This message was sent at or about 10:37 a.m. Investigators were also able to confirm, based on video surveillance footage and purchase receipts, that Letecia traveled to Petco, located at this Colorado Springs address. This Petco is approximately 22 miles from the residence and is an approximate 30-minute drive. The receipt shows Letecia completed her purchase at or about 11:22 a.m. Gannon is not visible on any of the surveillance video obtained at Petco. Letecia's whereabouts were unknown between approximately 11:22 and 1:22 hours. At 1:22, Letecia was again captured in video surveillance, making a second purchase at the same Petco. So she was at Petco at 11:22 a.m. and then 2 hours later at 1:30, she was back at the same Petco. Interesting. Mr. Stauch sent a text message to Gannon's cell phone at or about 12:06 that read, "Hey, buddy." This message was unanswered until 1:21 p.m. The response was, "Can I play Zelda at least?" Mr. Stauch replied, "Not today." A significant event occurred on Gannon's phone at about 1:43 p.m., which is prior to arriving back at the Stauch's residence. There was an internet search for, "Can my parent find my cell phone if it is off?" But guys, I know if you're listening to me right now, I do want to say that there is a random ass period between the word phone and if, and that's going to be really important. So remember this. I submit that this internet search was likely conducted by Letecia on Gannon's phone and not Gannon himself, based upon the content of the search, the way the search term was phrased, and the presence of a dot in between phone and if. This is very similar to the way Letecia conducted searches on her phone. We're going to get access to her search history, and you're going to see this dot thing is usually when someone's trying to hit the space button, and instead of hitting space, you hit the period instead. I think that happens to me too on my Android. This is very similar to the way Letecia conducted searches on her phone. However, I located other internet searches with the period in Gannon's search history, which I also reasonably believe were conducted by Letecia. A more detailed explanation of Letecia's search history is included below. Yeah, wait until we get there. Furthermore, the search term was parent, singular. I submit it is reasonable that Mr. Stauch only, not Letecia, would be interested in the location of Gannon's phone, and that Letecia was possibly deliberating on how or if she would dispose of Gannon's phone after she murdered him. Yeah, because like if it was Gannon who was searching it, he would write, "Can my parents find my cell phone if it's off?" But she wrote, "Can my parent?" because she knows that like only one parent's going to be out there searching for Gannon, and it ain't her. It's going to be the dad. I conducted the Google search of "Can my parent find my cell phone if it's off?" and learned that the first answer returned in the search engine reads, "The answer to your question depends on what method is being used to track your location." Gannon's phone was found at the residence. I submit that Letecia did not get rid of Gannon's phone for fear it might be traceable. So she gets rid of the Nintendo Switch because she finds out that you can't trace it, but cell phone, you can trace it. So you know what? Let's be safe. Let's just leave it at home. The Nissan Frontier returned to the Stauch's residence at about 2:20 hours. A search warrant authorized by this court was executed on the Nissan Frontier and found no indications of the blood inside this vehicle. Letecia had been without her cell phone for hours, so roughly 4 to 5 hours, yet her screen was not unlocked until approximately 2:45, which was 25 minutes after arriving back at the residence. During that 25-minute period, there is a motion activity both upstairs and downstairs on ADT records. Laina, which is I believe the 7-year-old daughter, returned home from school around 3:15 p.m. During a recorded forensic interview with investigators, Laina stated that when she returned home, Letecia told her that Gannon was asleep in her bed and that she could not see him. Letecia told Laina to go outside and play. I submit that Laina was sent outside because Gannon was likely dead, and Letecia was cleaning up blood from inside the house. At or about 3:55 p.m., Mr. Stauch sent another message to Gannon's phone. "Hey, buddy." This message was not read until 7:40 p.m. It is likely that Gannon was already murdered by Letecia at the time Mr. Stauch sent this message. Based on exterior video footage, Harley, which is a 17-year-old daughter, arrived at the residence in her white Volkswagen Jetta at or about 4:42 p.m. and picked up Laina. At or about 4:52 on January 27, 2020, so we're on the same day, Letecia sent a text message to Harley, oh God, requesting carpet cleaner, trash bags, baking soda. These items were likely used to clean up the murder scene. Harley purchased these items, and investigators located a receipt documenting that purchase. Harley Hunt has refused to speak with investigators at this point. I believe Harley Hunt did end up testifying against her mother. At this point, this is just a sign of a selfish mother. Letecia does not care about how this could potentially affect her daughter when her daughter finds out about this. Think about it. Like if you had your mom tell you to go buy cleaning supplies, and you buy it not knowing, oh, my mom just needs cleaning supplies. And then you find out later on that those cleaning supplies were used to clean up a murder scene that your stepbrother was involved in. Like that could potentially just damage you. You can get mind fucked by that. But, Letecia, she don't care. And then also maybe at this point you're thinking, well, Letecia has a biological daughter, Harley, who's 17. Were they in on it together? Maybe they were. No, they weren't. Investigators do not believe that Harley was present when Gannon was killed. Harley was at work on January 27, 2020 from 8:30 to 4:15 p.m. And investigators were able to verify this with her employer. To be clear, investigators have not located any evidence that any person other than Laina and Letecia had access to Gannon at approximately 10 a.m. to 5:34 on January 27, 2020. So Letecia calls 911 and approximately, 3 hours later, she calls 911 approximately 3 hours later at 10:09 p.m. EPSO patrol, they responded and showed up. Again, I guess to them it's not an emergency because the kid has been missing for more than 24 hours yet. I thought they had Amber Alert laws that makes it so no matter what, they have to treat it as an emergency. I don't know. Maybe it's different by state. From the body-worn camera footage, I learned that the Volkswagen Tiguan, known to be leased and utilized by Letecia, was backed. Now that's going to be important information. The vehicle was backed into the garage when EPSO was at the residence. The position of the Tiguan in the garage is significant because of the confirmed presence of Gannon's blood in the garage below the area where the rear hatch of the Tiguan would be. The positive reaction of Blue Star reagent indicating likely presence of blood on the Tiguan's rear bumper. So again, the car was backed into the garage, and right underneath where the trunk would have been, that's where they were able to find a positive reaction of a presence for blood. Responding deputies also searched in Gannon's basement bedroom. So again, Gannon's bedroom was in the basement. I viewed images of Gannon's bedroom taken from BWC. I think that's the body-worn camera footage. Below, I've included the image of Gannon's bedroom on the left. On the right is an image recovered from Letecia's cell phone after executing a search warrant that was applied for and granted by the court. This photo comparison is significant for many reasons. In the corner of the bedroom where Gannon's head is visible is a key area discussed in several sections below. A. The placement of Gannon's bed is in an immediate location where his blood was found on the wall, the carpet, and the concrete below the carpet. Again, when the police officers responded to the scene, they didn't see any blood. They didn't see anything amiss at this point. But this is saying that the bed was positioned kind of weirdly in a way that it was covering where the blood was underneath. So I want to show you guys these two footages right here. So this is the body-worn camera footage right here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but as you can see here, the bed is pushed up more, and there's a gap between the bed and the wall, which is kind of weird because usually the bed would be pushed towards a corner, right? That's usually how you do it. You don't really have gaps because you don't want to fall through and stuff. This is the body-worn camera footage, and this right here is a picture that Letecia took that very same morning. And as you can see, well, you can't really see, but the bed was pushed up against the corner. The sheet may or may not be the same. The blankets are different. The pillowcase, if not the whole pillow, is different. I submit a logical explanation for the missing bedding is that they were likely saturated in blood after Gannon's murder, removed by Letecia to clean up the murder scene. Furthermore, investigators were unable to locate the bedding in the Stauch's residence during any of the approximately 5 searches of the residence. So, bed sheets are gone. Very, very sus indeed. Another photo was recovered from Letecia's cell phone that shows that his bed was not pushed directly against the wall by the head of the bed. This photo articulates the ability for blood to get into walls and floors in the corner of the bedroom. Mr. Stauch, the dad, stated the positioning of the bed is unusual and the bed is usually pushed up against the wall. Again, this is a picture that Letecia took the morning that Gannon was, he had a stomach ache and he was unable to go to school. And I guess maybe she took a picture of him sleeping to show the dad oh, hey, look, your son is sick today. Mr. Stauch spent the night in Denver on January 25th, flew out of Denver International Airport on January 26th. Investigators were able to corroborate he traveled to Dallas, Texas, and ultimately to Oklahoma based on his flight records. On the morning of January 28, 2020, Letecia rented a 2019 Kia Rio from Avis. Letecia picked up Mr. Stauch at the Colorado Springs airport around 8:50 a.m. on January 28, shortly after Letecia rented the vehicle. So, the day that her husband is supposed to come, she, for some reason, rents a vehicle and then picks him up in it. But let's see what her explanation of that is. Let's see what she told her husband. Letecia and Mr. Stauch drove back to their residence from the airport in the rented Kia. Now, the timing of the rental of the Kia is suspicious, and combined with forensic evidence later obtained from the Tiguan and discussed below, tends to place additional importance on why Letecia felt compelled to rent the vehicle that morning. Investigators located no evidence that the Tiguan was not mechanically functioning or noted any reason why it had not been physically driven. In fact, the Tiguan remained parked at Colorado Springs Airport short-term parking lot until approximately 7 p.m. So that very same day, Letecia provided statements to her husband, Al, that she was concerned about putting mileage on her Tiguan lease, which justified the vehicle rental. So when you're buying a car, right, you can either buy it or you can lease it if you want. You can lease it for 2 to 3 years, and then afterwards you can turn it back to the dealership. Easy. Now, when you lease a car, you can choose how many miles you want to get. You can do 7,500, 10,000, 12,000, 15,000. It depends on how much you think you're going to drive, right? And of course, the less miles, the lower your payments are going to be. So it's possible maybe she was like, oh, I'm getting close to hitting, 7,500 miles, and I don't want to overpay for the miles that I'm using. Well, it says that during the time of the rental, Letecia, she only put 71 miles on the car. Okay, she was nowhere near being over on her miles on her lease. She only had 71 miles in the car. A new car, it seems. During the time period Letecia had the Kia, she would not provide the location of the Tiguan, and Mr. Stauch never saw the Tiguan. For example, she told Mr. Stauch that the Tiguan was near French elementary school. Between investigators and Mr. Stauch, a limited search for the Tiguan was conducted and produced negative results. Investigators later learned she left the vehicle in a short-term parking lot at the Colorado Springs, but removed the vehicle at or about 7 o'clock p.m. on January 28. The Kia Rio was returned the morning of January 29. I submit Letecia could not pick up her husband in the Volkswagen Tiguan because it likely would have revealed evidence for Gannon's murder, including blood or the actual remains of Gannon himself. So again, she picks up her husband at the airport. She's like, oh, honey, look, I rented a car to pick you up. But what she really did was she went to the airport, dropped off her Tiguan at the short-term vehicle parking lot, rented a car at the airport, picked up her husband in that. That same very day, she went back to the airport, got her Tiguan back, and then the next day after that, she took the rent-a-car back. So that is some very, very sus actions indeed. And I don't know how she didn't think how people will be able to track that down. Like when you go to the short-term parking lot, you got to pay. I don't think you can pay cash. You probably have to pay with credit card. There's surveillance footage. There's just so much. There's so much paper trail being left behind. But I'm glad that she's not a very smart person. The Kia Rio. Investigators applied for and were granted by this court a search warrant for the 2019 Kia Rio rented by Letecia Stauch. The vehicle was located at the rental company at Colorado Airport Springs when Letecia dropped it off. And honestly, there were so many people that rented this car, they weren't really able to find anything significant. They did find some, I think, blood, but they don't know who it's from. And again, a lot of people are renting this car. Now, let's talk about Letecia's Volkswagen Tiguan. This is her own car. The Volkswagen Tiguan is important to investigators because they believe the Tiguan was used to transport the remains of Gannon from the Stauch residence to a location where Gannon's body was dumped. Definitive locations of the Tiguan are unknown to investigators during the time period of approximately 7:02 on January 28 to approximately 12 a.m. on January 29. Investigators believe Letecia dumped Gannon's remains on the evening of January 28. So this is after the dad had arrived from the airport. and utilized the Tiguan to do so. The Tiguan was seized from Letecia on January 29, 2020. So she knew she had to dump the remains because she was probably about to go to the police station, about to do her interview, and she probably knew that they were going to seize her car. She scheduled interviewed with investigators on January 29. Located in downtown Colorado. When she arrived at 12 o'clock, she was driving the Volkswagen Tiguan. Oh, sorry, 12. Oh, just kidding. It's not 12 a.m. It's 12 o'clock. Investigators noted the vehicle was wet, appeared to have been recently cleaned. I submit Letecia had to clean the vehicle because there was likely visible blood on the rear end based on the below luminol reactions. Indeed, video footage was recovered that shows partial view of a car wash located on Colorado Springs Road. This vehicle captured a portion of the black SUV consistent with the Volkswagen Tiguan at around 11:30. So 30 minutes before she has an interview with the cops, she gets her car washed. Oh, God. Meanwhile, her stepson is missing. Yeah, very nonsense. On January 29, 2020, at the car wash, the time and location are consistent with raw data obtained from the Tiguan's computer system. On February 1st, 2020, FBI Evidence Response Team conducted a search of the Volkswagen Tiguan. In summary, the forensic portion of the search revealed possible traces of blood on the rear of the vehicle, a rear passenger seat, front passenger seat, and an area near the glove box based on luminol forensic latent bloodstain reagent tests. Swabs from the trunk area was sent to the Metro Crime Laboratory for further analysis. These results revealed the DNA profile could not be developed, and the swab from the trunk was negative for presumptive presence of blood. To be clear, luminol is a chemical used to detect traces of amount of blood at crime scenes, and although I do not have chemical or biological knowledge, I have learned that luminol reacts with iron, which is in your blood. I didn't know I was going to explain it right here. With iron and hemoglobin found in blood. When applied, luminol emits a blue glow when the reaction occurs. I am also aware there are things other than blood that can cause a reaction, such as chemicals. I do not submit that just because luminol reacts with a substance, that the substance must be blood, and only that there is a strong probability of suspected blood. The positive reaction luminol is meant to be combined with other facts in this affidavit in support of probable cause. Several areas of the Tiguan reacted in luminol, as mentioned. Specifically, the search team found evidence of suspected blood on the rear bumper and the step plate of the rear bumper. The location of the blood is significant because the vehicle was backed into the garage at Letecia's residence the day of Gannon's murder. The search of the residence is discussed below, but it's noted that evidence of Gannon's blood was also located on the floor of the garage, consistent with where the rear end of the Tiguan would have been seen. So here's a photo, but again, we can't really see anything, so we'll skip over that. Within the Tiguan, a receipt from the dollar store was located timestamped January 27 at 5:14 p.m. and documented the purchase of trash bags, baking soda, and vinegar. Investigators believe that Harley purchased these items in the direction of Letecia based on the following text message. Letecia, carpet powder, 2 things. Baking soda, trash bags. Who writes like that? Also included in the dollar store purchase was baby oil, baby lotion, cotton rounds, and bubble gum. Investigators do not believe that these other items were involved in the cleaning of the murder scene and likely have no investigative value at this point. I know from personal experience that baking soda and vinegar are common household items that can be used to clean blood. I actually had no idea. Additionally, I conducted open source internet searches that revealed vinegar is one of the most common items used to clean blood stains, and that when baking soda is applied to blood stains prior to vinegar, it has an efficient effect in removing blood stains. While the purchase of the items such as vinegar and baking soda are common and in no sense illegal on their own, the timing of the purchase of these items and Gannon's suspected murder are beyond coincidental. Also located in the parking receipt for the Colorado Springs airport that documented the Tiguan was brought into the airport. Wait, you know what? Oh my gosh, she must have not known that they were going to seize her car. Why would you leave the receipt of the cleaning supply in there? Why would you leave the parking receipt of when you parked your car there while you were renting the other car? Oh my God. She probably just thought maybe she thought they weren't going to Maybe she thought that they weren't going to take her car immediately, but she did have some blood residue on the outside, and she doesn't want to make sure that was just cleaned up. Oh my God. I don't think she had any idea. Why would you throw any of the stuff away? On January 29, Letecia returned the rented key at approximately 9 a.m. She was picked up by someone driving the white Jetta. Investigators were unable to confirm that Harley was driving the Jetta, but it is her primary vehicle, and it was probably her. And I think that you looked at her cell phone data as well. Investigators were able to download telematics and stored electronic data from the Tiguan. A more in-depth exploitation of the Tiguan's electronic systems, more specifically its historical locations, were developed and will be discussed below in paragraph blah, 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 blah. I'm going to scroll down. Investigators also served a search warrant to AT&T. AT&T responded to the search warrant and provided network event locator system data that would give an estimated location of the Tiguan. The data revealed that during the evenings of January 28, 2020, between 8:30 and 10:20 p.m., the Tiguan was generally in the greater northwest portion of Colorado Springs and likely in an area north of Air Force Academy in southern Douglas County. So again, this is when they think, after she picked up dad, the evening comes by, this is when they think that she dumped Gannon's body. I submit that during this time period, investigators believe that Letecia disposed of Gannon's remains. Of note, during the time period of approximately 8:30 and 10:30 on January 28. Harley's cell phone is connected to a tower that would service the Stauch residence over approximately 30 miles from Letecia's suspected location. There was activity in Harley's phone during that time, and investigators do not believe that Harley was with Letecia when she disposed of the body. However, at approximately 10:26 p.m., Harley's cell phone leaves the Stauch residence and goes to the hours of Power and Carefree, where investigators suspected she picked Letecia up. Letecia voluntarily came into EPSO for an interview with investigators, but only after she was evasive, avoided speaking with investigators one-on-one. Her interview was audio and video recorded. The below information includes her own statements as well as oh my god, okay, it's gonna get so wild, guys, get ready. She's gonna come up with some really crazy lies. But let's see what she says. As well as investigation geared towards corroborating those statements. In general, her statements are reasonably categorized as untruthful, incomplete, and misleading. Letecia was supposed to arrive at 10 a.m. on January 29, but did not arrive till noon. Yeah, because she was too busy washing her car. More important things, right? Although she spoke with investigators on the phone several times, she did not want investigators coming to her home and was difficult at best to track down. Investigators provided food and water to Letecia during the interview. Again, they provided food and water to her. She writes this like really unhinged message, and I think this is why they gave her food and water, but yeah, you'll see the message. Of interest, Letecia brought several pieces of notebook paper with her that contained notes she had written down. Oh my god, who did we watch recently that had a notebook? Sarah freaking Boone. Sarah Boone came in with a whole notepad of questions, and on there she was like, excuse me, do I get my boyfriend's engagement and wedding ring back? No, it goes to the deceased. It goes to the next of kin. Yeah, but I bought it for him. Like, imagine like your ex-boyfriend, or imagine your boyfriend, something bad happened to him, he died, and all you care about is recovering the jewelry back. Like, oh, gross. Sarah Boone's a whole nother, that's a whole nother thing. Go watch my video on that. Okay. Of interest, Letecia brought several pieces of notebook paper with her that contained notes that she had written down. During the interview, she referred to these pieces of paper and asked investigators if she could just read her own notes. Investigators were not able to seize these documents. I've conducted hundreds of interviews of subjects, witnesses, and witnesses. I've conducted hundreds of interviews of subjects, victims, and witnesses. It is extremely rare for an individual to bring notes to an interview. Letecia drastically departed from an initial statement given to EPSO deputies regarding the report of Gannon's disappearance. In summary, here comes the lies, guys. In summary, Letecia said that she had been held at gunpoint and AR'd, okay, this word right here, by a Hispanic male she knew as Eduardo, and that Gannon was abducted by that male after he finished AR'ing her. That interviewing detective believes her statement was false based on prior experiences investigating SA cases. Letecia said she arrived home at 2:30 on January 27. She disarmed her security system. She went into the basement. She said that Eduardo was in the basement. And again, the basement is where Gannon's bedroom is. So Eduardo was in the basement, attacked her, and pointed a gun at her. She said that after Eduardo held her at gunpoint, he allowed her to go upstairs to greet her stepdaughter. Laina Stauch, who had just arrived home for school. Letecia says she sent her outside to ride her bike and then returned to the basement where Eduardo, okay, this absolutely already does not make sense. Who does a home invasion? It was like, okay, fine, I'll stay down here and then you go upstairs and go ahead and greet your daughter. Well, if that was true, Letecia can go upstairs, call 911, or be like, hey, stepdaughter, like there's an intruder. Go tell the neighbor and call 911. This makes no sense. Of course, maybe the home invader is also a dummy. Then she returned to the basement where Eduardo vaginally penetrated her against her will between 3:30 and 4:30. So that's about 1 hour. During this period, she believed that she had hit her head and may have blacked out. Investigators noted no injuries on Letecia's head during their contact with her. Again, she called 911 that same day, and police are going to come in, they have body cam footage, and they're going to be able to note, hey, did she look like she was hurt to you? Did it look like she had injuries in her face or anything like that? Nope. Letecia also said that during the attack, Gannon jumped on Eduardo's back and that Eduardo was able to throw Gannon off his back and across the room. After Eduardo had finished, okay, so she's just like citing like things that she's seen in movies. After Eduardo had finished, he had the gun held to Gannon and demanded a suitcase. This makes no sense. Why would you do this? That's like two different crimes. It's like, okay, you're doing an SA crime and then now you're doing a kidnapping crime. Like, that's really random. Letecia provided him with a brown suitcase and a cardboard box. Eduardo attempted to essay her again, but she hit her head and blacked out again. Letecia stated that she tried to fight Eduardo off, but she was unsuccessful. I know from training experience that an individual holds another person at gunpoint, he or she would not likely allow the person to have the opportunity to escape, as Letecia described being allowed to greet her stepdaughter upstairs before returning to the basement. Most crucially, if Letecia's story is accurate, any reasonable person would have immediately called 911, reported the home invasion, the R word, and the kidnapping of their child. Letecia called law enforcement hours later and did not report the alleged R until approximately 2 days later. Maybe she has a good explanation for that. We'll see. Of even more significance, Letecia said she cleaned up the area. Yeah, why would you clean it up? She said she cleaned up the area where this alleged attack had happened. She straightened up signs of disturbances in Gannon's room, cleaned up the utility room. Investigators recovered cleaning supplies such as carpet brushes, which contained suspected carpet fibers. I submit that Letecia did in fact clean something up, but it was the murder scene of Gannon, not a SA. Investigators took steps to corroborate Letecia's statement before dismissing them as false and misleading. For example, investigators reviewed video footage from a neighborhood security camera that captured the exterior of the Stauch's residence from the day of Gannon's murder, did not observe a Hispanic male entering the house. Investigators did not observe Laina arriving home on the school bus. Oh, investigators did observe Laina arriving home on the school bus or at 3:11 p.m. Observe her enter the residence and observe her riding her bike at around 3:30, so like 20 minutes later. Furthermore, Letecia was offered the opportunity to have a SA nurse examiner conduct a forensic examination at a local hospital. Ultimately, Letecia did not want to have an exam completed. I wonder why. I mean, and there are cases where there are real victims out there who don't want to be examined, but in Letecia's case, we know that it's probably something else. When given the opportunity to provide investigators with evidence that would possibly identify Eduardo, Letecia refused to cooperate. Letecia stated that when she met Eduardo on January 26, the day prior to Gannon's murder, she generally described a Hispanic male, brown hair, brown eyes, but could not provide any specific identifying information. In summary, she told investigators that Gannon had knocked over. Oh my God. Okay, so she is lacing some truth into her lies. I have to play you guys this audio footage, and she's unhinged. So there's an audio that she recorded where Gannon, I think, spilled a candle or something, may have burned the carpet, and you can listen to yourself and tell me what you think. You tell me what you think.
I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose?
I did it.
Okay, we promise. You promise. Pinky promise. Okay, all right, so listen. We're gonna have to sell stuff to fix it, okay? So we figure out what we gotta sell. We can sell the sofa, we can sell whatever, because we gotta get it fixed. So lady, don't be mad at us and kick us out of the house, okay? You got it? You got it?
I'm just worried about my
Okay, shh. Listen. So tomorrow,
Yeah, see, I told you. She's wild. That Gannon had knocked over a candle on Sunday, causing the carpet to burn. After the incident, she drove around the neighborhood where residential construction was taking place. She met Eduardo, who was working on a house, and asked if he would repair the carpet in her home. Eduardo agreed, and Letecia provided him with the garage door code, and they agreed that he would repair the carpet while she was shopping the next day. This makes no sense. So a carpet is ruined, and your first thought is, oh, let me drive around a neighborhood and find someone who's building a house to see if they can repair a carpet. This makes no sense. What is a guy who builds houses? How would he know how to repair a carpet? Hello? I'm telling you guys, we're stressing over here. We're stressing. To the extent Letecia spoke about Laina, investigators were able to corroborate those statements, but never observed Eduardo or anyone else arrive or leave the residence during the time period based on the exterior neighborhood video footage of the front of the Stauch residence. Specifically, exterior video footage revealed that Laina was riding her bike outside between 3:30 and 3:42. Furthermore, the front door of the residence opened and closed at 3:28, based on the data from ADT. Darn ADT! Darn camera footage from the neighborhood. I know from training experience that when an individual concoct lies more reasonably to conceal the truth, they often leave portion of truth within those lies. I submit that those statements Letecia made reference Laina and the time period Laina was at the residence are likely true based on video evidence. Her other statements, however, are blatant lies designed to mislead investigators. Yeah, let's see what happens when they try to, oh God, they try to arrest her and then they try to bring her to a hospital and then she escapes. Sorry, I'm spoiling it right now. Okay. Investigators also revealed Letecia's phone records during the time period of the alleged R of 3:30 to 4:30 on January 27. During this time period, Letecia had phone activity to include an outgoing phone call and numerous iMessages to Mr. Stauch and Harley, namely discussing purchasing a new set of headphones for Al. These text messages occurred the following times: 3:41, 3:42, 3:43, 3:44, 3:45, 4:11, 4:20, 4:19, 4:20. So the time frame that she's alleging where all this happened, well, you were talking to your husband about, hey, let's buy new headphones. But you know what's even more disturbing? I believe they think at this point Gannon has already been murdered. How is she casually just talking to her husband about buying a new set of headphones after doing something so gross? I don't know. Investigators were also granted a search warrant by this court that was served to the ADT Home Security, which requested the data stored. Let's talk about this part right here. Letecia claimed that she was armed in the basement between, I wonder if this is a typo, 2:30 and 3:30. I think it says to say 3:30 to 4:30. During that time, the back door of the residence located on the main level was open and closed 10 times. If indeed Letecia was being armed in the basement, it would be impossible for her to open the upstairs back door of the residence at the same time. I submit Letecia's claims of being armed in the basement are false, based on her cell phone activity and the stored ADT data. The logs from ADT indicate significant activity in the basement of the residence where evidence suggests Gannon was murdered. For example, between January 23rd, 2020 and January 26th, the hours of 3 to 5, the average number of basement movements was 3.5. On January 27, the average number of basement motion was 10.3. A possible scenario for this increase in activity is that Letecia was going up and down the stairs in order to get cleaning supplies and cleaning the murder scene. Towards the end of the interview, Letecia said she wanted to leave. Investigators seized her telephone and detained her while they applied for a search warrant to obtain DNA collection. Letecia, I don't know what the heck she was doing, but she was stuffing tissues in her pants. She said she was having chest pains, shortness of breath. Investigators immediately requested medical assistance, and paramedics from the Colorado Springs Fire Department arrived. God, a waste of resources. I mean, maybe she was really having a panic attack for real because she knew something was about to go down, but... or she was just trying to stall and get the heck out of there. Letecia had appropriate responses to the paramedics' questions. I'm aware that Letecia has made a statement regarding Gannon's disappearance to individuals other than law enforcement, including but not limited to her friend, her husband, and reached out to the media? The media. Indeed, some of those conversations have been captured, memorialized, and recorded phone conversations and email messages. Letecia's stories have continued to evolve, and material facts continue to change, including but not limited to the identity of her attacker, the location of Gannon's abduction, confession and the details of the alleged R. During her statement, Letecia did deny killing Gannon, providing explanation as to why there was blood in her Tiguan, blood in Gannon's room, and why she was in the area of Palmer Lake, Colorado. This is Letecia being transported to a local hospital shortly after her interrogation. Letecia was transported to a hospital. Unlike questions at the EPSO by paramedics during the ambulance ride, she was now unresponsive to questions by medical personnel and seemed to have a miraculous recovery when they arrived at the hospital. The ambulance ride was audio recorded. Letecia received medical care at the hospital. The details declare is not included in this affidavit for medical privacy reasons. Letecia did not have any life-threatening issues and signed herself out prior to all of her exams being completed. Yeah, she wanted to get the heck out of there. Letecia continued evasive behavior at the hospital, but particularly after investigators told her they were going to detain her pending the issuance of a search warrant to collect her DNA. Ultimately, the search warrant for the collection of non-testimony evidence was signed and executed. The second warrant for the compelled SANE exam was initially authorized by the court, but then quashed by the court. So I guess they were going to force her to take this special examination for being essayed, but then the court changed their mind and decided not to. To be clear, Letecia did not allow a SANE exam to be completed. Letecia was not in custody after the warrant was executed at the hospital and left the hospital without telling investigators. She made a phone call from the waiting room at the hospital. There was a physical surveillance being conducted by law enforcement in the area, and the investigators learned Letecia was picked up by an unknown person in the hospital and was reunited with her daughter several miles from the hospital. How did they let her escape like that? Although her behavior was not illegal, I submit that as the pressure continued to increase from investigators, Letecia became more and more desperate to leave the hospital, likely because she feared being caught in her lies. Furthermore, Letecia did not want to pursue collecting evidence that might assist law enforcement in identifying and finding her supposed R-wordess. Okay, now we're going to talk about the searching of the house. Gannon's remaining family members were living in their residence during the periods of these searches. Investigators did not initially seal the residence off. Crime scene analysis from Colorado Springs Metro Crime Lab responded to their residence and found traces of blood throughout the residence based on Blue Star Forensic latent bloodstain reagent tests. There was a visible blood in Gannon's room, in the garage, and other portions of the house. Blue Star Forensic stain has similar limitations to luminol, which was described and discussed above. By way of background, the residence located at 6627 Mandan Drive, Colorado Springs, is a ranch-style single-family home, approximately 2,500 square foot, 2-car attached garage. There's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. 2 of those bedrooms are in the basement, including Gannon's. Next to Gannon's room, there's an unfinished utility room, and on the other side of the basement, another bedroom and a bathroom. Listen, Gannon is very brave to be sleeping down in the basement because I would be so scared. We had a basement and basements were scary. There's a suitcase with a small landing that allows, there's a staircase with a small landing that allows access from the main level to the basement, and the garage is accessible from inside the residence. The Blue Star reagent was applied to Gannon's bedroom, the hallway leading to the utility room from his bedroom, the utility room itself, the staircase and landing leading upstairs to from the utility room, the path through the garage from the staircase, and the garage itself. In all these areas, investigators found positive results for the likely presence of blood. Again, this is just basically a trail of blood leading from Gannon's room, the hallway, the staircase, and then all the way to the garage. Yeah, we don't know what photo this is. So it says Blue Star reaction at the base of the staircase. Yeah, we can't see it. Why? Specifically in Gannon's bedroom, in the corner of the room, investigators located an area where suspected blood has seeped through the carpet, through the pad, and stained the concrete. Furthermore, there was also bloodstain and projected blood splatter located in the walls in this area. Indeed, over 50 droplets of suspected blood was found on the walls near Gannon's bed. Crime scene investigators also suspected someone attempted to clean the walls based on the way the Blue Star reagent reacted on the wall. Gannon's mattress, we can see the pictures here. Gannon's mattress was also seized and contained red stain consistent with blood in the same area as the stain on the carpet, the blood cast off in the walls. The stains on the mattress were swabbed, but other were not tested with Blue Star reagent. The laboratory results have not yet returned, but because other blood in the area was determined to be Gannon's blood, investigators suspected the blood in the mattress is also Gannon's. I've included several crime scene photographs that include the wall next to Gannon's bed. The carpet pad, was removed by investigators to expose the concrete below. So she probably didn't think that, oh, you know, just because I clean the surface of it, the blood is not going to seep down and they're going to be able to find that. Based on the orientation of Gannon's bed, the vast majority of the blood would be in line with the position of his head and torso and consistent with the stain of the mattress displayed above. I submit that the blood located in Gannon's room appeared to have been cleaned up based on residual blood residue on the baseboards, the electrical outlet cover, and the blood that soaked through the carpet. DNA laboratory testing has confirmed that it was indeed Gannon's blood in Gannon's body that has not been found, reasonably indicating this is likely the scene of Gannon's murder. Investigators have requested, but have not yet received, a report from Tom Griffin. Mr. Griffin preliminary reported that the stains to the walls are consistent with one or more blood splatter producing events, which could include gunshot, blunt force, or a stabbing. Mr. Griffin did not believe the bloodstains were aspirated blood, primarily due to the lack of air bubbles in the stains. Furthermore, the shape of the stains were affected by the surface texture of the drywall itself. The final report from Mr. Griffin has not yet been received and is pending peer review. Mr. Griffin is actually pretty correct because they did find Gannon's body later on, and they did find gunshot, they did find blunt force, and I believe he was stabbed like 18 times. Trace evidence swabs of suspected blood were obtained from the electrical socket next to Gannon's bed. These swabs revealed that the blood was indeed Gannon's blood based on DNA profile testing. The electrical socket also had evidence of streak marks, which are reasonably suspected to be from Letecia attempted cleaning. When investigators removed the outlet cover, a visible red stain was presented outlining its edges. The presence of stain tends to support there was enough blood around the outlet to seep around its edges, leaving a visible outline. This is a photo of the wall next to Gannon's bed, marking suspected blood stains. We can't see it though. I've also included a photograph of the suspected blood stain on the concrete located in the corner of the bedroom where Gannon's bed was positioned. The stain is also visible in the photo depicting the suspected blood splatter on the walls. The carpet above the stain on the concrete was clean, and investigators suspected Letecia cleaned the area based on carpet fibers on scrub brushes, the acquisition of carpet cleaner supplies, vinegar, and baking soda. Now, this house was a new construction build. The Stauch family, they were the only family to reside in this house. So they can't be like, oh, the bloodstains were probably already there before we moved in. This is a new build. On January 29, 2020, investigators recovered a piece of carpet from the utility room with possible blood stains. The recovery of the carpet tends to further support the positive alerts from the Blue Star reagent in the utility room. The Metro Crime Lab reported the substance tested presumptively positive for the presence of blood, but was unable to develop a DNA profile. On January 29, 2020, investigators found in the dishwasher multiple carpet brushes with suspected carpet fibers on them. The dishwasher appeared to have been run. Investigators believe these brushes were used to clean up the murder scene. To be clear, no formal testing was completed to confirm the fibers on the brushes were carpet. Investigators, wait, she left them in the dishwashing machine for that long? By the time they were able to search, they found those brushes in there? What the? Investigators also located an empty gallon-sized container of vinegar within the residence. Mr. Stauch said that he believed there was about half of the container left before he left for Oklahoma. As mentioned above, additional vinegar was purchased on January 27, 2020. The deputies that responded to the Stauch home on January 27, 2020 did not notice the bloodstains in the Gannon's bedroom, and it should be noted in the initial report that Gannon had left the home and had not returned. As additional information was developed, more forensic searches of Gannon's room were conducted, which revealed aforementioned evidence. There were small traces of blood found in the depression of the drywall and paint texture that Letecia failed to remove when she cleaned the murder scene. So I'm going to go back to the trial really quick. Letecia, she's not disputing any of this. She's not disputing the fact that she didn't do it. She stopped claiming that. Oh no, she did it. But you know what she's pleading? She's pleading not guilty by insanity.
Yeah, she had some mental issues and everything like that, but everybody does, but they don't know he killed an 11-year-old boy. And she will be held accountable. Not guilty by reason, insanity.
Insanity. So she's basically saying that at the time that the crime took place, she didn't know right from wrong. She didn't know any better. But look at all she's doing to cover up her butt. Look at all she's doing to hide the body, to clean up the crime scene, get the rental car, concocting all these crazy stories. Yeah, really? guilty, not guilty because of insanity. Yeah, sure. I don't think she's gonna win that, but yeah, good. I don't want to say good luck to her. Fuck her.
Well, the neighbors have been awesome, so they helped out.
And they could probably do more than we.
Yeah,
I mean, we got 2 bodies, so
exactly. That's what I was telling my husband anyway, because he was upset, and I was like, honestly, the neighbors have already pretty much done a lot of the work.
yeah, there's a ton of them out there. So
Yeah. We keep getting posts and pictures, and we did find someone did send us a video picture or something, and he was holding his Switch case.
His what?
Like his Switch, like a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not like a Switch.
I was like,
So they've all been trying to be very like helpful and the whole situation, because he was supposed to be here.
So taken from the piece of carpet found inside the carpet roll in the utility room. DNA profile was not suitable for comparison due to a number of contributors and complexity of the mixture. Makes sense. You know, there's like 4 other people that lives in the house. You're going to get other DNA in there. Taken from the garage of the Stauch residence directly under where the rear hatch of the Tiguan when reversed into the garage. This DNA profile from the blood is a mixture of 2 contributors, one of which is male. The major profile matches Gannon Stauch. Taken from the bloodstained carpet fibers in Gannon's bedroom, DNA matches Gannon Stauch. Taken from the corner of Gannon's bedroom on the carpet pad by his bed, blood matches Gannon Stauch. Taken from the electrical outlet cover in Gannon's bedroom by his bed, matches Gannon Stauch. Taken from the electrical socket in Gannon's bedroom, matches Gannon Stauch. Taken from the backside of the carpet in Gannon's bedroom near his bed, it matches Gannon Stauch. They also checked the backside of the carpet in Gannon's bedroom, the blood stain from the top of the foam of the carpet. All matches Gannon Stauch. Now let's talk about the shoe. So there is a woman's 8.5 size Nike shoe. A DNA profile was obtained after swabbing a confirmed bloodstain from the outsole of the right size 8.5 Nike shoe, and it was found to match the DNA profile of Gannon Stauch. Furthermore, a DNA profile was obtained from a swab of the inside of the shoe, which matches the DNA profile for Letecia Stauch. So, she wore the shoes, that's why there's DNA on the inside, but on the outside, there's DNA for Gannon because she probably stepped around in the bloodstain as she was cleaning it all up. Okay, so we're going to get to her text messages and her search history. Ugh, okay. Additionally, there are messages that would be otherwise tend to corroborate her statements about Gannon's whereabouts on afternoon January 27, 2020, if in fact he did not go play. He did go play with his friends. As discussed in a proportion of the affidavit, Letecia's story is false and misleading, and these messages were likely sent to her by a part of a larger plan to support her initial lies. So she writes to her, friend Stephanie? Oh, no, it's a children's babysitter. She writes, "This happened at after 3:30. We talked to him then and told him to be home by 6. Stephanie replies, "Someone posted he wasn't at school either." She replies, "He had to go to the doctor for his stomach, but he was home in the afternoon. Where did he say he was at?" Stephanie replies, "Where did he say he was at?" She writes back, "Honestly, I don't keep up with friends." Letecia made statements to investigators via text message that could be considered exculpatory in nature related to the presence of blood in the basements of the residence, as seen in the below text message. I've talked to investigators who were inside the Stauch residence on January 27, 28, 29. There was no odor of smoke, no evidence of smoke. In fact, one detective noted the basement smelled like coconut and was very pleasant. Furthermore, I know that burns oftentimes do not produce wounds and that bleed profusely. Oh, and I do want to mention that there was never any indication that she ever took Gannon to the doctors. So she said that he went to the doctors for his stomach. That never happened. Okay, so this text message is to Nicole. She wrote back, "When we came back inside from the smoke, there was blood on both of us." Yeah, this makes no sense. Can someone please explain what the heck she meant by this? This makes no sense to me. Okay, so... Again, I played the clip for you guys earlier about the Gannon spilling the candle and Letecia being really crazy manipulative and saying crazy stuff. So I guess she's talking about the candle spilling incident now. I don't know why. She writes, "When we came back inside from the smoke, there was blood on both of us. I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I would get fussed out about it. And I didn't know if he should go to the doctor." Why would you get blood all over both of you guys? "I kept trying to add the candle thing, but Albert kept saying it was small and minor. I was scared the basement was smoky, and when I threw the covers on everything, We both had blood. How would you have this much smoke in the basement from a spilled candle? You ever spilled a candle before? I used to play with candles all the time. I used to put them in my fingers and then peel them off afterwards when it dried out. What is she talking about? So this is a theory that I have, and I think she's adding some truths in here. So she's mentioning that Gannon spilled a candle. It somehow burned the carpet. And now she's saying that, oh, somehow there's blood that got on both of them. I think it's possible that Gannon may have accidentally spilled the candle over. She might have freaked out. She might have just snapped. And then she may have purposely possibly burned him, or maybe even beat him so severely that there was blood everywhere. Because she does mention in this text message to her friend that there was blood on him, blood on her after the candle was spilled and the blanket was put on top of it. I don't know. It's really confusing. I also thought it was really weird she was recording herself as if she was trying to prove, I don't know, maybe give her some sort of like evidence, but I don't know. And the reason why Gannon stayed home the next day was because maybe he had some bruising or something like that, and she didn't want other people to see. If you spill a candle, how are you going to get blood everywhere? I don't know. Maybe in the trial, as they are presenting their evidence, maybe something like this will come up and explain what's up with this bonkers text message. Additionally, let's say that if this did happen and Gannon was maybe severely beaten, maybe she was afraid how Al Stauch was going to react the next day. And this is why she decides to get rid of Gannon by concocting this ridiculous kidnapping story. And, you know, at this point, she won't be culpable for it. She'll be like, yeah, someone else did it. Someone else kidnapped him. And I was a good, loving stepmom. And I was here. And I don't know what happened to him. And then she also writes, you don't understand how hard it is to be a stepmom. That's the truth right there. She's already venting out her feelings about how it really feels to be a stepmom. Investigators also recovered limited GPS and location data from Letecia's phone. There are crucial time periods, such as the evening on January 28, that investigators were not able to recover location history because Letecia disconnected her phone from cellular network and turned the phone off. This is when she was probably disposing Gannon's body. Letecia stored several notes within her iPhone. The majority of these notes contain what appeared to be usernames, passwords, insurance information. There are also several notes that appear to reference her unhappiness in the relationship. So we're starting to get a little bit of motive here, and shed some light on potential household instability. Now we get to the internet search activities. And this is not like a whole aggregate of internet search activities from years, spanning a whole lot of years. This is from January 25 to 29. Okay, this is just 4 days. I was able to review with possibly not all of the stored internet search history and the websites visited recovered from the forensic physical download and search of Letecia's phone. Between the dates of January 25 and 28, Letecia viewed websites associated with the search for jobs in states other than Colorado, such as LA, please don't bring her here, Orlando, Pensacola, Florida. Letecia also viewed apartments and a 2-bedroom rental property in Florida. Additionally, she visited a moving cost calculator website. Honestly, she was on the right track. If you weren't happy with your family situation, if you didn't want to take care of your husband's kid, then GTFO. Your only biologically related daughter was 17. It seems like she was taking care of herself. She had a job and stuff like that. Like, you weren't stuck to this family. You weren't tied to them. Get a divorce. Why do this to Gannon? I don't understand. Why take the worst possible scenario? Why? There's an easy fix for this. Just fucking leave. Sorry. Letecia's internet activity also captured the search for a rental car and visited this website, Priceline.com, on January 28 at 8:17 a.m. I submit this timing is consistent with the acquisition of the Kia Rio mentioned in this affidavit. Letecia appeared to use Google, a popular online search engine. Is it so popular? I feel like people will be using, what's that other one, Bing now because of ChatGPT? Okay, sorry, digress. I've only included some of the queries to Google along with the date and approximate time of the search. Not all of her Google searches are included below. I submit that her search history is important because the history suggests that she might have been struggling as a step-parent and additionally suggests she was not happily married to Mr. Stauch. While her search history alone does not provide motive for murder, it does shed some light on the inquisitive thoughts of her position within the family memorialized in a Google search engine. Also, the period thing. I also direct the court's attention to the way Letecia's search terms are sometimes entered. Letecia hits the period key instead of the space keys multiple times while searching the internet. And approximately 44% of the searches listed below. Oh, it's definitely her searching on Gannon's phone. This will be significant during the discussion of the search conducted on Gannon's phone, as we discussed in paragraph 40. All right, let's look at the search history. Oh my, okay, we're gonna zoom in a little bit on the search history. So look at the times. This is like almost back to 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 back. Okay, almost like look, especially in the 25th, like back to back to back almost. Okay, so we have find real military singles. Okay, so again, her current husband Al Stauch, he's part of the National Guard. Parenting should be for people, not one. I'm doing all the work for my stepkids, and their mom doesn't help. Mom advice from stepmom. If you aren't involved in your kid's life, you are shitty. My husband's ex-wife does nothing for her kids. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a card since I raised her kids. Again, ... I do want to mention, if you guys are wondering, Gannon's mom, I believe, also had custody of her son as well. I don't know if it's like 50-50 custody, but from my understanding, if I remember correctly, she also had custody. It was like shared. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a card since I raised her kids. Okay, this is some weird searches. So at this point, we're about 3 weeks away from Valentine's Day. I don't know why you would search this. Like, how would Google know? I don't know. You're searching some dumb things. Okay. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a Valentine's card since I raised her kids. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a Valentine's card since I raised her kids. One day, some people, wish they treated you differently. One day, some people, wish they treat you differently. Wajah should my husband choose, me over family. Find me a rich guy, Find me a rich guy who, wants me to take care of his kids. Find a guy who wants me to take care of his kids and get paid. Just be a nanny. Be a babysitter. What are these searches? It's crappy some parents don't care for the kids or buy them presents. True. Parents are those who put their kids before their nails. I wasn't really sure what she was trying to search here. Parents are those who put their kids before their, I don't know. I have no idea. My son, this is the day, okay, so this is like the morning, the midnight after. So the 26th is when Gannon supposedly burned the carpet. They have that weird audio recording, and then she's trying to figure out this carpet thing. My son, burned the carpet. How, do I fix, it? Well, humidifier, help if exposed to smoke. Smoke effects, will humidifier help? Smoke from fire effects, will humidifier help? Does she not know what a humidifier does? Colorado law for kids staying at home. Again, so this is getting like the late night searches right now. Some late night searches. And then we're getting into like the 1 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m. Like, I think at this point, she was already planning to murder Gannon. She's like not sleeping. She's not resting. She's doing these weird searches. I mean, she ain't getting no sleep. Son is sick, but I have to go to work. Son sick, can he stay home? I don't understand. I don't understand. School is out. Is it okay for my kid to stay home alone? Colorado law for kids staying at home. Like, hire a babysitter? I don't know. You have family, friends you can have the kid stay with or something? Or just stay at home at work. Suede repair kit for sofa. El Paso Sheriff's Office number. So this is when Gannon is missing and she's trying to get in contact with them. What is the process for a runaway child? Police steps for a runaway. Police steps for a missing child. Again, there's a lot of periods everywhere. Today's flight, this is when she's picking up Gannon's father. Can Nintendo find my Switch? CarNet Volkswagen. Ooh, now this is when they are starting to get suspicious of her. And she actually Googles this. They are asking for her son's toothbrush, but said nothing is wrong. How would Google even know what the heck it is that you're talking about? The dentist? Like, she's putting in things that are really specific, and I don't know. I feel like maybe Googlers are God or something. You know, sometimes when you need to get an answer from God, you just got to ask Google because God's not replying back to you or something like that. I don't know. I don't think she knows how Google works, but okay. Investigators were also able to recover internet search histories that was deleted from Letecia's phone. No time and date is associated with the located in the data. Let's see what she has. Some but not all of the search history is included below. Some of the others deleted search terms include travel planning, shopping, job searches, and other seemingly innocent activity. I have not purposely left at any particular search that would be exculpatory in nature, but I'm not intending to portray all of Letecia's deleted searches were nefarious in nature. All right, we got more searches. Let's do this. Find me a new husband book. Okay. I feel like I'm a nanny, not a stepmom. Okay, so now we're starting to see maybe a little bit of motive. Husband uses me to babysit his kids. Are there any free money to move away from bad situation? My husband never posts about me, but does everything else. Oh, so maybe she's like a stay-at-home mom or something, and that's why it's hard for her to have a divorce from her husband and then like leave. I don't know. You get a divorce, find a job. I mean... Hello? If she had young kids, I would understand because it's like a little bit tough. You're tied. You know, got to think about custody and all that. But her only blood-related kid is 17 years old. She can do her own thing. Like, Letecia, divorce, go get a job, move, do your thing. But the fact that she, I don't know. We know she's not smart. Okay, let me stop. My husband never posts anything about me, but does everything else. My husband only cleans up for the army, not me. I'm just a glorified babysitter. Find a new husband. Send to my husband sexual messages and he ignores them. Make my husband want me more. I feel like my husband uses me to babysit his kids. Find a guy without kids. I thought she wanted to babysit for a rich man and watch their kids. Maybe not. During the first 24 to 48 hours surrounding the disappearance of a child, it's reasonably that an assumingly innocent parent or step-parent would be contributing to search efforts and fully participate in the effort to recover the child. Murdoch, anyone? Hello, Alec Murdoch? In the 24 to 48 hours surrounding Gannon's disappearance, Letecia rented a vehicle, turned her cell phone off for approximately 4 hours on the evening of January 28, because she was dumping the body, washed her Tiguan immediately prior to coming to the police department for an interview, evaded law enforcement's attempts to conduct a more in-depth interview, and did not participate in the search for Gannon. How you not going to participate in the own search for your own stepson? You know why? It's because you did it. On Tuesday, January 28, and she didn't care. On Tuesday, January 28, between 8:48 a.m. and 8:54 a.m., Letecia instructed Harley to pull your car in the garage via text message, presumably to temporarily cover up any potential evidence left behind. To be clear, Harley has her own vehicle that was mentioned above, paragraph 13, specifically a Volkswagen Jetta. On January 28, 2020, at approximately 4:04 to 4:17, investigators asked Letecia for Gannon's toothbrush to recover his DNA. At or about 4:19, Letecia did a search in her inner history of they are asking for her son's toothbrush but said nothing is wrong. At or about 4:31 to 4:33, Letecia has a text message from Mr. Stauch. Letecia, something isn't right. I think they are hiding something. Mr. Stauch, who? The police? Letecia, yes. They asked for toothbrushes. Mr. Stauch, what do you think they're hiding? Also on January 28 at about 10:45, Letecia made a statement to investigators. Oh my God, this text message is so weird. Please let me know if you can decipher this for me. So she sends him a text message. At this time, Gannon has been missing for 27 hours, okay, over a day. Letecia believes she was the subject of his disappearance without any prior prompting from law enforcement. So she's getting nervous. She's getting paranoid. Letecia, what do you want from me? Because I have nothing. One of your very own leaked to me what you guys were doing. I did nothing and/or am being set up. I'm not really even sure other than being told by that other guy, Blue, with El Paso. I was told I couldn't go home to sleep. And on top of that, men were sent to a home with a minor female. And she was forced to stay there, not to even leave for food. Every conversation that said, even at this moment, I can hear inside. What do you want from me? Okay, I don't think she wrote this text message because she's mentally unwell. I just think that she's just batshit crazy and just horrible with her words. So again, not even 2 days, Gannon's missing. She writes this unhinged text message, and I think she makes it up. She says that one of your very own leaked to me what you guys were doing. I seriously doubt someone in the police office leaked to her saying, hey, we're investigating you, just to let you know, don't tell anyone I told you this. She says she thinks she's being set up. And then she says something about, like, I was told I couldn't go home to sleep. And on top of that, men were sent to a home with a minor female and that she was forced to stay there. Now, I think she just meant to say that, like, she was told that, like, if she goes for interrogation or something, she can't even go home to sleep. She can't have food. She can't even leave. She's forced to stay. So maybe that's why police enforcement, when they were setting up this interrogation with her, they made a point to give her food and water while she was there. But yeah, very unhinged text message. And the detective, love his response. Come in to talk to me. I would just like information to find Gannon. Dude, before he wrote this text message, he was probably like, what is this woman on about? What is she talking about? Okay, let me just calm down. Let me be collected. And, let me just write a normal response. Because, I bet you he probably wanted to write WTF. What are you talking about, woman? After EPSO investigators seized Letecia's Volkswagen on January 29, she obtained a 2020 Nissan Altima. How did she get another car? Investigators applied for a granted search warrant by this court to install a GPS tracker on the vehicle. Investigators monitored this tracking device, which provided particularly useful information on January 31st. So they take her car away. She gets a new one. They put a tracker on there, and they realize, she's visiting a weird area. What is this area that she's visiting? So they go there, they go see what's up, and apparently this area, investigators recovered a piece of particle board from this area with Gannon's blood on it. The fact that Letecia came back to this area on January 31st is significant. Investigators have not uncovered any evidence that Letecia has family or friends that live in the area, or any legitimate excuse for her presence in that area other than to dispose of incriminating evidence. I submit a reasonable theory for the fact Letecia returned to this area based on the information presented in the affidavit as follows. Letecia disposed of Gannon's remains at nighttime, was likely nervous about the location she chose, and may not have even remembered exactly where she dumped Gannon's remains. Investigators believe that on January 31st, she went back to the area to view the area while sunlight was available, to ensure no evidence was viewable from the road, to ensure his remains were adequately covered to prevent detection, and to see if any law enforcement was in the area. Investigators were able to recover a computer chip from Letecia's Volkswagen Tiguan, which was examined by the FBI. So here's what we got from Letecia. We're going back to January 28. The Tiguan left Colorado Springs Airport at 7 p.m. on January 28. So again, this is after she dropped off. This is after she rented the vehicle, picked up her husband. Now she went back to the airport. And now she's back in her original car, not the rental car. So she went back to get her vehicle at 7 o'clock on January 28. It matches with the airport parking receipt. Yep. The Tiguan raw data indicated the Tiguan stopped near a King Soopers parking lot, maybe fast food, for approximately 10 minutes after leaving the airport between, 8:08 p.m. to 8:18. They were able to review footage from the King Soopers, which showed a dark SUV matching description Tiguan sitting in the parking lot during the same time period. Other footage included Wendy's restaurant. The Tiguan was in the area of Highway 105 between 9:15 to 9:30. I've included a map depicting that data. The raw data also indicated that the Tiguan stopped for approximately 5 minutes at an area approximate to the recovery of Gannon's blood on February 15. Again, this arrest affidavit was done about 2 months after his disappearance, so somewhere in March. I think March 17. This is the same area that Letecia likely drove into her Nissan Altima rental vehicle on January 31st, 2020. The recovery of Gannon's blood in this area is discussed below. Now we're back to the continued evolution of Letecia's stories. Investigators conducted several consensually monitored telephone calls to Mr. Stauch, specifically Mr. Stauch in the direction of law enforcement, communicating with Letecia via telephone and email. These communications have been recorded and memorialized and consisted of hours recorded conversation. I will not provide a transcription of these calls, but will summarize the importance of particular changes to Letecia's story. And if you're watching the trials, they play parts of this in it.
Okay, that's huge that he was still in the house. And so that would have been, police got there, what? Like that. I'm not making this up. I'm not. No, I know. I'm trying to sort through this again. I'm trying to get you to this point to where,
because they'll try to incriminate me for this. I need immunity.
I think they give it to you because this is big that he was there and they missed it. Because then they're going to want to cover.
For the purpose of refreshing the court, here's a summary of some of Letecia's statements, whether to law enforcement, directly through media, and or to Mr. Stauch in recorded email and voice communications. So, on the day that Gannon went missing, she said he left to play at a friend's house, did not come home at 6 p.m. like he was supposed to. 2 days after that, she was like, oh, wait, actually, what happened was I was held at gunpoint, I was AR'd, and Gannon was abducted by her heiress. Within Letecia's falsehoods, there are details corroborated by physical evidence that would never be near impossible to know without being immediately intimately involved about the murder. Letecia has made statements to explain why blood on the walls in Gannon's bedroom, blood on the rear bone of the Tiguan, and blood in the garage of the Stauch residence. Details of the location of blood evidence has not been released to the media nor to Letecia and has been closely held throughout this investigation. She is self-snitching. Furthermore, Letecia has continued to provide alibis for physical locations not previously disclosed to investigators. Her statements continue to evolve in a dramatic way and all remarkably different from original report to EPSO. The majority of the conversation between Letecia and Albert Stauch began around February 13. Over several days, Letecia's stories continued to change. During a phone call on February 13, 2020, Letecia stated that Gannon was burned by a candle to the point that his skin bubbled, and that Gannon peeled the burns off and wiped the blood on his bedroom wall. Mr. Stauch did not ask about the blood on the walls of the room during the calls. She was trying to get ahead of it. She knew that they were going to find out about the blood on the walls, so she was trying to get ahead of it and be like, actually, when Gannon burned his finger, there was a bubble and he just wiped it on the wall. Yeah, totally. The fact she provided information about blood on the wall likely indicates her knowledge of the murder scene. On Valentine's Day, I wonder if she did get that card from her stepchildren's mother. On February 14, Letecia has an additional conversation with Mr. Stauch and provided 4 additional versions of Gannon's disappearance. All right, story number 1. When police came to the house on January 27, the abductor was still in her residence and that she tried to signal to the deputies that there was somebody in the residence. It should be noted that the deputies checked the entirety of the house and no additional person was located during that search. Okay, she is... She tried to say the abductor was still there when the police came by. Story number 2. She was AR'd by, here's a new name, Quincy Brown at her residence, and Brown abducted Gannon. She knew Brown's identity because she saw a paper and his identification card fall out of his pocket that had his name on it. Letecia sent a photograph of Quincy Brown to Mrs. Stauch via text message. It is noted this photograph mirrored images online wherein Quincy Brown was listed as the most wanted suspect. Story number 3. Quincy Brown followed her from Petco and at some point was laying in the middle of the road in front of her car. She's totally watching a lot of movies. When Letecia stopped to avoid running the man over, he jumped into her car? How? Made her take him home and then AR'd her. How would that even... We're not going to entertain that because we know it's a lie. Story number 4. Letecia and Gannon were near County Line Road Highway 105 in northern El Paso County on January 27. Gannon was riding a bicycle in the area, fell off, hit his head, and was then abducted by Quincy Brown. What? In this version of events, Quincy Brown was driven by a man named Terrence. On February 14, 2020, story number 4 has some interesting considerations. During the period of February 12 to February 14, it's public knowledge by virtue of media coverage that investigators were searching for Gannon in the area of Highway 105. Letecia, she brought up this location up on her own without prompt during a conversation and provided an alibi for why she was in that area. Letecia was adamant that investigators' efforts to search for Gannon in that area would be futile and that this area turned out to be significant based on the Tiguan's location on January 28, 2020. Gannon's blood was found in that area. Letecia drove through the same area in a Nissan Altima rental vehicle on January 31st. I submit that based on raw data retrieved from the Tiguan, Letecia was likely in the area of Highway 105 on evening of January 28, 2020. Gannon's remains were dumped in the vicinity of that area. Letecia's story lays the foundation for a reason why investigators may locate Gannon's body with head trauma. Yep, she's trying to get ahead of it, trying to get out of it. On February 15, Letecia provided additional conflicting stories to Mr. Stauch, including that the story that she warned Albert Stauch about Gannon falling off the bike was a lie, because it is what she believed he wanted to hear. Letecia stated that the blood in the corner of Gannon's room is a combination of hers and Gannon. In this explanation, she stated that her abductor, you could read this on your own, both her and Gannon with an object. Additionally, she was tied up at some point in the abduction, and the abductor was still present during the ESO visit at night. This goes into Quincy Brown, who was most wanted. We don't have to worry about that because not involved. So they go back to the Highway 105. That's where they found this particle board. And the particle board, they found there was blood on it. And it was tested that it was positive with Gannon's blood. The reasonable explanation for the discovery of the particle board with Gannon's blood on it is that Letecia used this particle board during the disposal of Gannon's remains. The area in which the particle board was found is rural. The ground was covered with approximately 6 to 12 inches of snow. Additionally, how did they find this? Additionally, the area is rural in nature because it was populated by wildlife like bears, coyotes, mountain lions. Gannon's remains had not been located. While investigators were continuing to search the area, it is possible those remains have been scattered since January 28, 2020. They got some wiretap going on here. Letecia continued to provide different stories to different people about Gannon's disappearance. Letecia provided false information to her sister, I think her sister testifies too, and other family members, during which Letecia provided multiple different stories for what happened to Gannon. Several of the stories were discussed above. On February 16, 2020, Letecia told a female believed to be Tila Cummings that she was going to give Al numerous false stories because she knows he will not believe anything she says. On February 17, Letecia told a female believed to be associated with Laura Abernathy that she was thinking about flying to Colorado to take a lie. Oh God, guys, I forgot about this lie detector thing. This woman is just ridiculous. I could almost think that she's mentally unwell because of all the crazy things that she's done. But you got to remember, if your life is on the line in terms of, you might go to jail for the rest of your damn life, you're probably going to do all these crazy things. You're going to jump through hoops and hurdles just to try to get out of it. Even if it means coming up with ridiculous lies that to us, it's laughable and it's baffling. But to her, I don't know. I think she just watches way too many movies. Okay, so let's talk about this fake polygraph test. Letecia told an unknown female that she's going to take a lie detector test, but the test is not admissible in court and no law enforcement would be present. So she tries to get fake polygraph results, okay? Which I didn't even know was a thing. On February 18, 2020, Letecia called this number. I conducted a research on that phone number and learned it was associated with fakepolygraph.com. During that call, Letecia stated she never got confirmation for a test she paid for. Letecia provided the spelling of her name, and before disconnecting the call, the unknown male stated that he would resend her the results to her email. I viewed the website, fakepolygraph.com, and found the following information. Fake polygraph tests, all this information, la 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 la. You guys can go to the website yourself, fakepolygraph.com. Oh, God. On February 18, Letecia called again. During this call, Letecia inquired about an email she received. The unknown male stated that her report was blocked by management based on the content of the questions. Yes, fakepolygraph.com. And stated that with any illegal activities, they reserve the right to not send the report. Man, could they not contact police about this? What if the police didn't find out about this? Letecia's response was the following. Letecia, what do you do now? Just delete it and go on about life and keep the money? The male. Yes, we do indeed. Okay, I gotcha. Thank you. Goodbye. It's funny how she tried to fight this. I thought she would try to fight it, be like, can I get my money back? I need my money back. But, I can understand why she would want to fight this because she doesn't want to be on their bad list, right? Investigators contacted Luke Devlin utilizing the phone number that Letecia called. Mr. Devlin provided information to investigators, including the questions and answers that Letecia had provided. All right, well, here are the questions that she wanted to have fake polygraph answers to, whatever. Do you intend to answer these questions regarding your stepson truthfully? Yes. Is your birthday August 4, 83? Yes. Did you participate in any way in causing harm to your stepson? No. Did your stepson return to your home? Yes. Did you participate in any way in causing the death of your stepson? No. I submit to the court that if Letecia had nothing to hide, she would not have to pay for fake polygraph results. So this is the conclusion here. It basically is going to summarize everything that we read, this 32-page affidavit. And I do want to add that at this point, they were not able to recover Gannon's body. So the murder happened in January, end of January 2020. Letecia was arrested, I think, March, 2 months later. However, a couple weeks after that, they were able to find Gannon's body. She had driven all the way from Colorado to Florida with her daughter. And of course, we don't think the daughter knew what was going on. I don't know about that part. I have to listen to the daughter's testimony. But she drove from Colorado thousands of miles all the way to Florida, where she went to a bridge, dumped Gannon's body that was in the suitcase over the bridge. And months later, the workers were able to find it. They found a suitcase, and to their dismay, they opened it and they realized that it was a decomposing human. It was a child in fetal position, wrapped in like a blanket. Maybe they thought it was a pillow there. But investigators were able to find that Gannon was stabbed like 18 times. There's blunt force trauma to his head. He was shot at 3 times. 2 had missed. I think we went through like the pillowcases that was with his body, and 1 actually went through. And to stab someone 18 times, that's a lot of like hatred inside of you. She had a lot of hatred for, whether it was towards Gannon's father, maybe it was resentment of having to be a stepmother, babysitter to Gannon, and she took it all out on him that day. Now, she's in trial right now, and she's not debating, she's not disputing the fact that, like, I didn't kill Gannon, I didn't do it anymore. Now she's saying, well, I did it, but I'm not guilty because I plead insanity. I didn't know right from wrong, which is BS, because if you didn't know right from wrong, then how did you know to cover everything up? How did you go through so many hoops and hurdles to, evade law enforcement, to concoct all of these lies? It's because you knew it was wrong and you're trying to get out of it. Again, this is a really sad case. She's currently still in trial. I'm pretty sure the jury's not going to believe her. But again, we don't know what kind of evidence she's going to present. Right now, the prosecutors are presenting their case. Her defense team, honestly, if you listen to their opening statements, they already sounded like they were defeated. They were like, we know we're kind of the bad guys here, but I kind of have to just do my job. Me and my lawyer right here, it's our job to defend this client. And it just seems like they weren't really, I don't know, their opening statement was very interesting. Listen to the beginning of it.
I can see it in your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of you, as far as you're concerned, I could burn in hell for representing Miss Stauch. A lot of you won't even make eye contact with me. I might as well just be the devil himself up here running his mouth. And I see Mr. Allen get up here, and he's emotional, almost into tears, talking about it. And I get it. I get it. What happened to that little 11-year-old boy is beyond description. The facts of this case, awful. It's so bad. This is a lost cause. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't quit. I can't leave this courtroom. Got to do my job in this case. Mr. Toledo does. I can't just, after that opening statement, all the information that I've seen, the photos, the smiling picture of Gannon, hearing about him being shot and stabbed multiple times. Hundreds of witnesses and 800 pieces of evidence that are going to come in.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This was a tough one to listen to, but I appreciate you guys listening, and I look forward to hearing the outcome. Guilty, 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 and send her away forever.